What's up, guys? We're back with another episode of Mach 1 Method. I'm Coach Patrick,
Coach RJ.
Coach Jason.
Coach Big Bad Bob.
and we are going to talk about what personal training should actually look like. So, RJ, I'm going to start it off with what it should look like.
Yeah, I think the first word in personal, that should be important, that it's individualized and it's catered towards you. And that kind of starts from day one when you come into the facility, you're getting an assessment, and all of the training is geared towards you. So I think number one, it's personable, and what you're doing is geared towards your goals.
I think that checks out. It's right in the name of it right there. I think personal training also ties in a little bit more of a reactive approach from working with a coach. So you can, rather than just following the program to a T, you can deviate and go and pull audibles and make those changes, because sometimes, you come in and you're feeling great, and sometimes we go off program and we push a little bit. Sometimes you come in, you're not feeling great, and we have to remodel the program. We have to work through those low back pains and compensations or whatever you're experiencing from the weekend. So just being able to really tailor it that way rather than just blindly following along from start to finish.
Definitely. Yeah.
I think a good way to tackle this topic too is by talking about what makes a personal trainer a personal trainer. So I always joke with my clients. I say I don't count higher than 10 because I didn't go to get my master's degree. I stopped at the bachelor's. So that's all I can count to. But, joking aside, personal training isn't just about counting reps, right? For some people it might be, but for the majority of our clients, personal training is like what you said. It's making sure that the program is catered towards the person's goals, but also catered towards the person's lifestyle. Yeah. You don't know what happens in a person's day to day, week to week, what kind of life events happen and come up, and how that affects your training and your fitness goals. I'm sure we could all speak on countless times where we're working with someone and we have one plan, they have a certain goal, something happens, graduations, unfortunate events happen, and you have to pivot. And that personal trainer kind of takes on different roles and wears different hats depending on what the client brings to the table that day.
Definitely.
Yeah. Anyone want to feed off of that?
That's so awesome.
Is this on?
Is this on? You first?
go,
We're
Bob.
live. Okay.
You go, Bob.
All right. Oh, I guess from my perspective too, as a personal trainer, I feel depending on maybe they're coming back from something or they're coming back to the gym full time or just introduction, I feel there's a pride in being a personal trainer of you are their first maybe introduction to the gym. So it's a really big role to have. Layla, we just had at the on-ramp, it's her first time touching a barbell. So there's sort of the weight and magnitude that this is her first impression of a gym. So I feel you're sort of the introduction to basically a culture and a lifestyle that maybe no one has ever heard before, and maybe they'll see on Instagram. It looks kind of scary. So I feel we're sort of kind of cutting through the noise, and you get the one-on-one experience of no, this is all just fluff, this is how it's done, and you kind of create a bigger impact for them. So I take pride in that of being someone's first anything in the gym. So I love doing that. That's my favorite part.
Especially with her, with a powerlifting foregoing future. The good part is you only have to count up to 10, right? Usually it's under
That's
that,
a little
so
high.
I was gonna say usually you get the benefit of keeping it 5 and under, so well within your knowledge and certification.
3. Yeah, no, it's cool because it's I feel you see kind of the fear in somebody when they have a barbell in their hands, and kind of that throughout the session, seeing that fear go away and kind of start them kind of owning it. I kind of want to add some weight now. It's that's the coolest part. And I feel being a personal trainer is being able to meet them where they're at and push them beyond where they thought they could go. That's my favorite part.
I think a huge skill set with that is being comfortable teaching someone to use a barbell, because it does have that intimidation factor, right? And a lot of newer trainers, especially when they're first getting certified and getting out in the world, they tend to opt for machines, and they're like, all right, I know the chest press is going to work the chest, low risk of injury, direct correlation, very isolated, right? But being able to take someone, build confidence, build familiarization with like a barbell and free weights can really set you apart from what you're doing on your own, to really open up like a whole array and toolbox of skills and exercise selection that you can utilize. And that's something like even in our name, Mach 1 Barbell, right? Like that's a huge part of what we do with our personal training clients, whether it's powerlifting, Olympic lifting, or even just on a personal training basis, because we train people for that athlete first mentality. Because out in the world, you're not dealing with machines. It's all body weight, free weight, like random stimulus in all different directions. So that's huge.
I think like, we've been personal trainers for, a long time.
Mhm.
You've been a personal trainer for almost 2 years now with us.
Yeah.
And like, so what kind of, in your experience, is making what you bring to the table different than like maybe some of like your friends that are just like the gym bro, because you're not just the gym bro,
Yeah.
right? Like maybe that's how we all kind of start in some way, shape or form.
Backwards hand quarter zip, still got it in me.
Right.
Jim bro, never heard of him.
James bro.
James bro.
But yeah,
Jimothy bro.
tell me like, or tell us like kind of how you feel your knowledge, your credentials differentiate you from your friends, because it's like something I think that we've all said in the past is like anyone can make a workout. It doesn't take a rocket scientist to build a quote unquote good workout, but the right workout and the right training program is really what makes a personal trainer and not just a guy making a workout.
Yes. So I think like what makes me different than maybe like my friends is I could tell somebody maybe the reason why we do it, rather than like I think a lot of times you see like a lot of gym bros being like, "Oh, dude, if you do this, like your chest's gonna go massive," and like you just gotta do this 10 times a week. Like everyone always kind of has this like belief that this will work, but they never understand like why it works or who does it work for. And like I've always felt, and I've always like felt this from like day one of like powerlifting, that like not all cues are made equal, and I feel that like yeah.
Just like even cueing,
Yeah.
learning different cues is what makes a good versus great personal trainer and experienced.
Yeah, like and I've seen a lot of cues like online where it's like brace your core. Okay. I'm under 600 pounds.
How do I do that?
Yeah, I'm picking up 600 pounds. My core is definitely bracing. Like, and I think like some like cues that like I feel like I brought to the table with my athletes was maybe some I've never even heard of. And I feel like it can, but it also depends on like how they're built. Like I could see how somebody moves. I'm like, okay, they're a little bit more upright, but their kind of hips are so high. Sit back on your heels. Like there's these cues that are like renowned, but I like input them for different people. And I would not give like Logan 6'3", like 200 something pounds. I wouldn't give him a cue for Russ, who's not 6'3" and 200 pounds. Like there's different sizes, different like biometrics. Like I think like just viewing somebody and how they're built, like let's take a different angle of how I want you to lift this weight. Even though we're doing the same goal of picking a weight off the ground, how we get there is different. And the exercises, implementation, like I know a lot of people that like do cookie cutter programs where they're like, oh, like, John Hack ran this program for himself, so it must work for me. And it's like, well, John Hack is also like one of the best powerlifters in the world and as natural as probably my pre-workout. And so like that probably wouldn't fly for someone who's just starting. Yeah, like it just wouldn't work. And like I think something that's what I like and I love about our gym is we always meet people where they're at, and we don't drag people where we want them to be. We're like behind them, slowly pushing them. And especially with like the app we use, like where you can see the progression literally on like a chart. Like I think that's so cool. And I think that's just something we do differently, that we can like literally map out someone's progress rather than like a spreadsheet and saying just follow this. It's like we can like go in, change some stuff, and like just kind of monitor phase by phase like what's working, what's not. And I've always believed that like if it's not broke, then don't fix it. Like my powerlifters, like we'll run maybe similar things, but maybe we'll take out some stuff and add in maybe different variations, maybe to like change up the stimulus. But overall, the bones are pretty much like same flow. But it just depends on like what they need in that phase.
I think a perfect example of that is like doing one of our class programs where you can get multiple people doing the same workout, but optimizing each movement by using their own individual cue. So when you're going through, there's generic setup cues that we use to make sure everyone's doing it like safely. But then in terms of like maximizing and optimizing performance, you might get a certain cue and they might get a totally different cue for the same reason, right? But at the same time, it might be they just digest that information differently. So you might tell someone to drive through their heels, and that's going to have them sit back and keep their chest up, right? But the other person, you might just tell them, keep your chest up, right? And that to them makes so much more sense and it's easier to comprehend, but they're still doing the same workout, same class program, right? The same stimulus, but they're able to personalize it and better optimize that training.
I think that's like, you kind of fed off of what Bobby was saying, and just to kind of echo what you're saying is like, it comes down to personal training being a client coach relationship that builds over time. And like, you learn, okay, when I say this, when I say get on your heels, I know that for this person, that doesn't make them do what I want them to do. Right. So I need to word it differently, or I need to communicate with this person differently. And that relationship develops over time. And I think that's another great distinguishing factor about personal training is the growth factor. The longer you're with your trainer and with your coach, the better they learn you, and the better they probably know you better than you know yourself in some regards.
Yeah, I think we kind of alluded to it. Like my explanation in the beginning was very stiff and short, and the whole idea was the reason like people don't really understand like what we do day to day with making the decisions, changing the program. The people come in, we gotta not deal with, but things happen, life happens, and you could have the perfect program written on paper, but if that person doesn't do it, that program sucks. Yeah, welcome Coach Pebbles to the podcast. But but you could go out like anywhere and get yourself a personal trainer, but is that person really doing what's best for you? Are they just counting reps? Are they doing a program? Are they building this relationship? Do they even care about you? Like we're always talking to people when they walk in, asking how the family's doing, how was the weekend, how are you feeling? But that those are the big things, and that's what like is the fun part about it, is building that relationship and getting pushed in the right direction.
And add on to that, I think like one thing that like I had to like personally in my first, Batman Origins overcome in personal training was building a program and being able to like look at it and then break it apart and be like, nah, that can't, we don't want to do this anymore. Like I in the past used to think like, oh, build a program, follow it for months, and then boom. Like, but there was a level up period where it was being comfortable and okay of taking the feedback and realizing, nah, it's not working this well. And I think what like I tell my friends who like want to self program or like they ask me questions on how I program. I don't give out the secret recipe though, but I give out the template. I give out what's going through my mind, and I always say like the quicker you can upload whatever's happening in front of you. I feel like it's not like how mapped out or all these like progressions over the next 5 years what we're going to do. It's like the upload speed at which you can quickly make these modifications with a given period. Like if we're on crunch time of a prep, something's not feeling good, how quickly can we change the program to make you feel good? And like I think that was some people like have to like either take the ego hit or just make the change. And it's like not being so like identity tied to your programs, like being identity tied to like the process. It's like wow.
I think a big thing going around as well across the board, not just in personal training, is like AI job security, right? And a lot of people can kind of go on chat and just be like, hey, make me a workout for so and so goal and do it for this time frame, this frequency. Like, and you can put in and prompt the metrics that you want, but at the same time, it doesn't have that ability to take all these factors that you guys were just talking about and rapidly adjust and dial it up, dial it back as needed on a day-to-day basis. And also even like mid-set, like you don't see that, all right, the foot pronation is causing valgus collapse and that's causing the low back to go into an excessive arch, and that's why like the back squat is hurting your low back. Really it's a foot issue, right? But like you're not seeing that through AI, right? Unless you have like live camera feedback, voice audible stuff, right?
And to that point, like that's like you're leaving the person putting in the information to AI
Yeah.
as the client themselves.
Yeah.
And like, who's to say, no offense to the clients, but like they're not the experts. They don't know that they're doing these things.
Yeah.
So how are they, like, if we conveyed that to Chat GPT, maybe it would give us the right answer.
Mhm.
But like they don't know how to convey that to
Yeah.
Chat GPT.
Yeah.
Well, that also is like you'll scroll through like social media and you'll see this person with like shredded abs or whatever, and they're like, "What's your split?" And it's just like you can literally have it from top to bottom for the next 6 weeks. It's like that doesn't mean anything to you on an individual basis, right? It's like this person has seen great results and great features, and like they were currently following the split. But what were they doing the 6 years leading up to the split? What does the nutrition look like? What did the recovery and the supplementation and like lifestyle and genetics, like what does all that play into before you get to the split? How long are they on the split? Have they revisited it before, right? Like there's a lot of things that go unanswered when you just copy and paste someone's workout routine like that. And that's pretty much what AI is going to generate for you, right? So having that coach, being interpersonal, even just sending like a coach video feedback goes such a long way in terms of like online personal training and stuff like that. So you can really do as much on your own as you want, but having a coach and personalizing that workout is really what it's actually about, right? We want to make sure we're seeing it live and corrective and from an expert like eye, so we can make those audibles and changes.
So to basically summarize, all personal trainers do is count reps.
For the most part, yeah.
Yes.
So
Okay.
it's find yourself a good coach, not just a personal trainer.
Exactly. Cool.
All right. Anything you want to add?
No, I think that kind of took the second word in the training aspect compared to working out. Like you can look up a workout, but are you really training? Yeah.
Boom.
Cool. Mach one out.
Knock one out.
Boom.
Oh, it's right here.
Oh, no.
Wow.